So the next thing you need to do is learn how to sew a seam for joining fabrics for when you're making bags, trousers, dresses, anything. Most things are joined with a seam. So again, 2 pieces of fabric. Make sure the edges of your fabric are even. So if you need to trim them, do so. I might not have cut your samples neatly. On your sewing machine, there are lots of lines on the throat plate. This first line is 1 centimetre away from the needle when the needle is in the middle position. This second line is 1.5 centimetres. This next line is 2 centimetres, 2.5, 3. The edge of the presser foot is 6 millimetres away from the edge. Most seams that we will use for garments when you're using commercial patterns have a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance. So that's the second line from the needle. There. So get your fabric, put it underneath the presser foot. Put the presser foot down so that the fabric is on that second line from the needle, and you're going to sew from one edge to the other edge of the fabric. Hold the threads towards the back of the machine. Couple of stitches, back tack 2 or 3 stitches, and then what I'm going to do is sew, but concentrate on having the edge of the fabric on the second line away from the needle. So all the way to the end of the fabric. When you get to the end, back tack. Lift your presser foot, take the fabric towards the back of the machine, snip your threads. It's good practice to iron your fabric when you've sewn it. So I'm going to take it over to the iron. Alright, so the next step is to iron the fabric. So there's a light here that if I turn the temperature up to what I want it to be, should come. There we go, that should come on. So once that light goes out, it's reached the temperature. I want the iron to be on 2 dots, which is warm. So that's a good temperature for most fabrics and for what we're doing as well. It's a really good idea when you've done any sewing to iron it. It helps to form the stitches properly. So iron it like that as you've sewn it first. Remember to put the iron up. Then you need to open it. This is going to be the wrong side of your fabric. So this was a garment, this will be on the inside. Open up the seam. You can press it open slightly with your fingers and then press it like that. That's an open seam. Next step is to overlock it because we want these edges to be neat and not to fray. So the next step is to overlock your raw edges. You will need to fold this piece of fabric back before you overlock. And make sure you've watched the overlocking video and practice that first. Lift the presser foot up, put the fabric underneath, run the blade along the edge of the fabric. Remember, you're just cutting the fluffy bits off. You're trying not to cut the seam allowance at all. When you get to the end, you can run that off and snip your threads. Then you need to do the other side. So fold that out of the way. If you leave this fabric like that, when you overlock it, this will all get chopped off. So you need to fold that one out of the way this time. This time I'm just going to run it underneath. I'm not going to lift the presser foot. So there's 2 ways of getting started. Whatever you feel happy doing. And then you can get to the end. So run it off. So that's what it would look like inside a garment, and that's what it would look like outside of the garment. So have a look and see how your clothes have been constructed.